In the early years and year one, we looked at planting, we looked at growing plants, and some of our children that, like I said, are those engagement model learners, those sensory learners, they took part in sensory activities related to growing plants. They explored soil, they were maybe learning how to use a tool, how to use a shovel or a watering can to water plants and kind of build their learning that way, because they're not right at subject-specific content yet. And then some other children, for example, like in my class, because I teach reception, I've got some children that are accessing subject-specific contents, and they have those kind of early learning skills. They can count. So they planted their seeds and then they were counting the days it took to grow their plant, and they looked at their plant every day. So yeah, that's kind of how they access the theme of time in kind of the lower end of the school. We also purchased some attention grabbing toys. So because our children have a diagnosis of autism, we use a speech to language technique called attention autism. And the first stage is having some really, really exciting toys that's going to grab those children's attention that kind of struggle to share attention with adults and attention with other things that might be quite self-directed. So we purchased some really exciting toys, for example, a dancing flower that we could get out as part of that activity. In year 2 and year 5, they were learning about changing properties of materials. So where we could, we linked it to what they were already learning and then just enhanced it. The year 2 children, again, those classes were kind of those lower end of learners. They were learning about heating and freezing. So we purchased for them some resources like hand warmers and freezer blocks, as well as having the experience of making ice and seeing it melt and watching the time it took. We kind of bought some more resources that could teach them what is hot and what is cold, as well as having that time. And then our year 5 learners, some of them are sensory learners, where some of them are children that learn from the curriculum. So they were measuring how long it took an ice cube to melt, how many minutes, how many hours, with stopwatches. Some of our children we bought butterfly kits for, you know, when you get the caterpillars, and they were measuring how long it took for the caterpillars to grow into their chrysalis, and then how long it took for their chrysalis to turn into butterflies. And they kind of looked at the life cycle of butterfly in that way and measured the time, so it all linked back to the theme of the overview theme of time.